From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report. I'm producer Blake Jacobs, and on this show, usually, Wow co-founder Fenton Bailey, World of Wonders Chief Creative Officer Tom Campbell, and Club Kid turned best-selling author James St. James count down the top 10 things of the week that made us all go wow. But this show, I am picking my favorite topics from 2024 that made me go wow. And we've got a surprise at number one. First up is Haley Welch, better known as the hot Tuah girl. She's been in the news these days because of her recent shiesty foray into cryptocurrency. But back in July, she was just some girl talking about spitting on dicks. I'm sure her grandma's proud.
Number 10.
Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to your social media. The Hawk Tuah girl. Do you know what? Have you heard of this? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's passed by my eyes, but please put it in context for me. Help me understand.
Okay, so this girl, this is straight memes, straight people memes, heterosexual memes is what it is. So I don't expect you to know what this is, but it's taken the world by storm. So a girl, a pretty thin white girl, is on her, social medias, and she's explaining to people how to give a blowjob. And she says that you hawk up a loogie, hawk Tuah, and you spit in your hand and then you rub it on the dick, and or something like that. I don't know. It's been a while for me, so I don't quite remember. But hawk Tuah girl, and it took off like a bit, like it went around the world in 20 seconds, and people are loving this woman, and she's suddenly she is the biggest star on the planet, and everywhere she goes, say hawk Tuah, say hawk Tuah, say hawk Tuah. So she says hawk Tuah wherever she goes. They're doing a documentary about her life. They did. They've already. Hollywood. Hollywood has come.
Hollywood people
moved to Hollywood in the 3 days since this happened. She's in talks with, I can't remember who, Universal or somebody, to do a reality show, and it looks very much like it's happening. This is Bad Bobby all over again. What was her name, Blake? Bad Bobby, Bad Baby.
Oh, Bad Baby.
This is the Bad Baby syndrome all over again. And then what upset me more than anything was they had got a club gig last night, and they paid her $30,000 to come to the club and say hawk Tuah on the microphone. And I was like, well, my first thought was I was in the wrong business all along. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, I was in the club business and nobody ever gave me $30,000 to do anything.
Because you weren't giving tutorials.
I can say hawk Tuah. I can throw a loogie. Like, why is the world the way that it is, that this woman can give a blowjob tutorial, say one funny thing, and the rest of her life is taken care of?
Well, I think this is a story that will continue to unfold, and we'll she's the next Vivian Lee. I don't know. We'll see.
But I was watching her give a tour of her hometown on social media, and her grandma was like, hawk Tuah, like the whole family, and like the little nieces and nephews are all like hawk Tuah. Like,
I guess the
got
message
whole
there
family
is you got to fall in line, right? Everyone's got to say the same thing and fall in line.
Is, and it's like Grandma Hawk. It's like, here comes Grandma Hawk Tuah. Like, it's just. I mean,
this is the future conservatives line.
Yes, this is the MAGA world that you have created.
Speechless.
Up next at number 9 is a queen for the rest of us, Jools Lebron.
Number 9.
I feel like we have experienced this week the Titanic of memes, like a meme that has been taken in by everyone, and it's the demure girl. I'm very demure. It's very mindful, and everybody, big stars, little stars, everybody has taken this on board. Rue, who was hosting Jimmy Kimmel last week, did an amazing job. There's lots of clips online if you haven't seen it. Actually had her on. It was very good timing, amazing timing, and it's fun. It's something for us all to get. I ask you this: when do memes, when they become so overnight mainstream, and when did they become the Macarena? Because I remember, I'll flash you back to 1996, and I was working in daytime television, and I was working on Mike and Maddie, ABC, and we did a whole Macarena show. It's like, okay, when I think about it, daytime was kind of the internet before the internet, because it was like, what's trending? What are people talking about? It's like, everyone's doing the Macarena, so, we're going to do the Macarena. So we had a whole Macarena theme show where I swear to God, we started Macarenaing, and we talked about it, and we Macarenaed off. And it just so happened that the show before us, Regis and Kathleen, did a Macarena hour, all coincidental. And the show after us did a Macarena hour. I think it was Rosie. So it was like this crazy, I think we've hit the end of the internet. Does it bother? Do you get too much demure? Can there be too much demure?
No, I think, and I think, by the way, it's not so much the Macarena. I mean, Macarena, those were viral. Those actually were memes that, Gangnam Style, and, the viral meme thing was born in pop music, I think. And it's an extension of it.
Well, remember the DNC in '96 did the Macarena?
Yes. There's clips of Hillary Clinton that are going around her like clapping and Macarenaing. Maybe that's what put it in my head.
And the girl's name is Jools Lebron,
which I guess. And Jools, what I've read, if you can believe it, she has made enough money off of this viral sensation. I don't know how one makes money, but they do, off of views and stuff, I guess, that she is able to complete her transition surgery.
Yes, although I also saw an item where she was very sad because someone else had copyrighted very demure, very mindful, and she was very upset about that. I mean, understandably, I guess. Because
she still has the money from all the viral,
right?
But the T-shirts, the beer koozies, where's that money going? Anyway, I hope James feels better. I hope he's, I think he was very demure and very mindful not to be on the air and to be sick right in front of us. So thank you, James, for that, and thank you for appearing. Appreciate that.
Yes.
And I hope the Hawk Tuah girl is okay now that there's a new.
Do you know Hawk Tuah, Fenton?
I do.
Oh, you do. I don't want to have to explain it, so I hope you know it.
But it's connected to blowjobs, isn't it?
It is.
It's everything. Thank you. And on that note.
And now we go from meme starlets to trends for your refrigerator, of course, with Fenton's Enlightening segment from back in September on Fridgescaping. I'll let him explain.
Number 8.
Fridgescaping. I guess this is one of those internet trends that no one needs and that no one is really doing. But I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk about fridgescaping, which is the art of laying out the inside of your fridge in an aspirational, beautiful way.
Why is it always shabby chic, though?
Well, I don't know. You put milk in a ceramic jug. I mean, I don't think that's so fridgescapey, but apparently it is. And I guess the TikTokers put little photos in and fairy lights and
flowers.
And flowers. And that is a little weird.
For years, because I live my life like I'm 10 years old and I'm putting like my models and things in my room. Everything's like on display. But I will put fun things in my cupboards. Like I have a Lennon Sisters like cocoa tray. It's in my cupboard, just facing out as art. And I also put sometimes, because I'll leave my linen closet I use for my clothes, and I put Keith Haring outlines and things. So when I leave my doors open, which I like to do, and it's a mess, I'm exposing art. Am I ahead of my time?
Cupboardscaping.
Well, interestingly, I am the opposite. In my refrigerator is full of black mold and sludgy things and food that's been there for about 6 weeks. So I probably could learn something from this.
Yeah, it's everywhere, James. And there's an article in the New York Times, and there's one woman who says, some artists use canvas. I use my fridge, and I spend about 6 hours doing it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's the Kardashians' fault, actually, Tom, because they started off with that pantry decanting thing, right?
Yes. Refrigerated RuPaul's Drag Race WoW presents merch is what I'm saying. Refrigeratable.
Yes, that's good. Or like a sort of a knitted milk cozy or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
James, I bet if you like chewed on some of the mold in your refrigerator, you wouldn't be sick as much.
It's probably penicillin. I am probably growing all sorts of new medical miracles in my fridge and in my bathroom as well. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Okay, James, we'll be right over in that case.
I'd like to quickly remind everyone that if you're signed up for our newsletter, which you can sign up to at worldofwonder.com, we're still doing our advent calendar for 2024. So you'll still be receiving discounts there through December 31st. Now that about takes care of the memes and trends of 2024. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to be talking about some shows of 2024. But first up, I was going to ask you if you knew what was the highest grossing movie so far of 2024. We'll be right back on the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. I'm producer Blake Jacobs. Usually we have Wow co-founder Fenton Bailey, our chief creative officer Tom Campbell, and Club Kid turned best-selling author James St. James counting down the top 10 things of the week that made him go wow. But this week, it's me, producer Blake Jacobs, talking about the top 10 things of the year 2024 that made us go wow. At number 10, we had the hot Tuah girl. At number 9, we had Jools Lebron, who brought us Demure and Mindful for 2024. And at number 8, we had Fenton with Fridgescaping. Now, before the break, I asked you, what was the highest grossing movie of 2024? I was kind of surprised to find out it was Inside Out 2. Up next on the countdown of the things that made us go wow of 2024, we'll be talking about some shows, starting with Wow's own Owning Manhattan with Tom at number 7.
Number 7.
We talk a lot about shows on Netflix on our little countdown show. I remember there's a clip that came up on my timeline from years ago where James was like, I will not be shamed for talking about Netflix shows. And I'm like, well, there are a lot of shows that Netflix talk about. But for a first time in a long time, not first time ever, we can talk about a World of Wonder show that's on Netflix that's doing really well. And what's so great about a show when a show is really good and it is doing really well, it's so gratifying. I'm grateful, taking no credit for it. I give credit to the incredible team that produced it, the incredible man who stars in it. I'm talking Owning Manhattan, which is Ryan Serhant's $1 billion listing kind of show. He was on $1 Million Listing in New York. He has his own show. He has his own firm in a building that was the Tommy Hilfiger building. And now it's the House of Serhant or Serhant House. And World of Wonder and the incredible cast and crew and producers have been working for months, years, decades, it seems like, putting together this show. And it finally released. All 8 episodes are out. And I have to give credit where credit's due. And I'm sorry, James, it's not you. It's Fenton Bailey and Randy Barbado, who, in fact, invented the real estate porn genre. Not the porn genre that came before them, but the real estate porn genre. Sure, there's been house hunters and stuff, but Randy and Fenton, you should talk about it. But how you and Randy invented $1 Million Listing 100,000 years ago. You got to give us all the background, please.
It was mud huts. We were living in caves and huts.
A nice mud hut.
And we were like, let's move to a nice cave in LA. And we met Debbie Berg, real estate agent to the stars. I don't know if that's true, but she herself was a star. Tiny lady who drove a boat-sized gold Mercedes and was so tiny that when she sat in the car to drive it, she'd have to sit on the yellow pages, which for many of our listeners, like whatever yellow pages, but that's an old school telephone directory about the thickness of a Bible. And she would sit on that and peer over the dashboard and drive this giant boat. And really, it was like taking your life in your hands. And we thought, wow, she was our real estate agent. We were looking for a place to buy. We'd moved from New York. And because, if you live in New York, you can only buy a handkerchief to live in. And we were like, you can buy a whole house for like next to nothing. And we thought she was an amazing character. And we'd go to these open houses, which were also amazing. And one of those open houses, and we weren't going to buy it, but one was for Gore Vidal's house. And
On Outpost.
And we were looking around, and there was a dead rat in the pool. And quick as a flash, the real estate agent said, "That's good luck. That's a sign of good luck." That's how it all started, and really can't take credit for it at all, other than the fact that we've always loved to look behind the curtains at people's soft furnishings, you know.
But the idea of a real estate agent as superstars is it's something that only Hollywood can invent, and now it's sort of a worldwide phenomena. And I do think that it's interesting that you were the one who first recognized that they were superstars.
I'm terrified that someone is listening and will point out that there was some show that was actually groundbreaking.
Well, you were on the ground floor of this.
No,
we were in the basement.
And you talk about how you did the pilot for Bravo $1 Million Listing, and they waited so long to pick it up that some people from the cast on the reel had died.
Yes, one of the cast members died. Lovely. Oh, what was her name? She was so famous for having so much plastic surgery that she was said to cry tears of silicon. She'd had so many implants. She sold OJ his Brentwood home. Just a legend of the business. And the very first season of MDL LA, Dear and Ray, who used to have all those ads on bus stop benches.
They were a couple.
And he wore that kind of one-piece mankini that was made very famous in
Brat.
Yes, in the Brat. Yes. What do you call those things? Thongs, I suppose, really.
I like one-piece mankini. I think it's
One-piece
fantastic.
mankini. There you go.
So anyway, to bring it back to Ryan, I mean, there is a $250 million apartment. Is that correct? I'm so bad with numbers.
It's the most expensive residence.
The towers in the sky that blows your mind, but all of the real estate is so beautiful. And it's very professional, but there's a soapy element. You just get like realtors are like drag queens, or porn stars, or
Real Housewives, I think.
No, they're more because they have a real skill and they have a real talent, but they invent themselves. You don't like go to college for real estate. You find it as a calling, as a profession. And the ones that sell the most are perfect for television because they have this dynamism, this attraction, this ability.
They could tell you anything, right? It is show and tell. And I think they are like drag queens in the sense that they have to be multifaceted. Like, you've got to know the real estate. You've got to be able to talk about it in an alluring way as if you were on QVC. You've got to create stunts around it. You've got to eventize it. Then you've got to do social media around it. You need a drone flying through the house to make a video. It's a lot.
But Owning Manhattan, Ryan Serhant on Netflix. If you haven't, watch it, binge it now. You're going to love it. Trust me.
Ryan is so dramatic and dynamic, isn't he? He is like an unstoppable machine and very, very beautiful. And as Randy pointed out, and I cannot disagree, gorgeous skin.
All right, that's Owning Manhattan on Netflix at number 7. And be on the lookout for season 2, currently under construction right now. Up next, we have at number 6.
Number 6.
Baby Reindeer.
Oh, yeah.
On Netflix. My God, it is absolutely batshit insane. It is bonkers. Fenton, have you watched it?
I'm halfway through.
Okay. Blake, you've watched it.
I have watched it.
I'm scared to watch it.
It touches on greatness. There are moments that are absolutely some of the best TV you'll be watching all year. It is a shoe-in for the Emmys. But it is really uncomfortable around that 5th and 6th episode where you're like, just your jaw keeps dropping open wider and wider and wider. Anyway, it's the story of this sort of sad sack, failed comedian who works at a bar. And one day he mistakenly befriends this girl who wanders in. And the girl is batshit insane. She's a big girl, big personality, lies like a rug, just absolutely. And slowly she starts to insinuate herself into his life and she starts sending 100 emails a day, and they keep getting dirtier and crazier and dirty. And as he tries to get rid of her, push her away, she starts getting angry, and it sort of goes from there.
But then he also like plays into it sometimes.
Well, that's because it started as it's a true story, and it started as a one-man show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and then it went on to the West End from there, and it won all sorts of awards. But the idea that he likes to explore is the fact that he's this needy black hole of attention need, and that he's at one point, I don't even want to talk about what I'm talking about, right, Blake, when he starts. And so, and also at the same time, there's a concurrent storyline in which he flashes back and he was sexually abused by a male mentor of his. And that's really hard to watch. Some of that is really uncomfortable.
Well, and there's that whole scandal of everyone, because everyone's an internet sleuth now, and everyone is trying to figure out who the people actually are, and the guy.
But everyone knows exactly who Martha is. She's like, it's a true story.
Yeah.
Everybody is identifiable. Everybody has been identified. Martha is on the internet. It just feels very.
They did identify him? I didn't know that.
Her.
Oh, just Martha.
Well, I know that she has come
What do you
out.
mean just Martha? I mean, like.
Well, no, because they're trying to figure out who the mentor guy is, and like they've ruined this other guy's life.
Oh, with Scott Foley, I think was his mentor. Yeah,
right.
But in real life, that wasn't the guy that he's talking about.
Oh, so, careful. Make that.
But everyone has accused that guy of it. So it's like
Scott Foley from Kids in the Hall,
right?
But you're talking the actor, not the real person, correct?
No, the actor, the guy who plays him, is the real person, and he plays himself in this. He plays the thinly veiled, but the actress who plays her is an actress, and then he's also in love with a trans woman, who's played by.
But Scott Foley is not the guy who raped him. No.
Yes. Thank you. That's all I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, let's get that.
I have a legal. I'm like Sunny House on the View. I have a legal statement I need to say. The other question I have, and maybe you can't tell me, maybe it's a spoiler, but why is it called Baby Reindeer?
Well, that's what she keeps calling him, like nipples and hey baby, and she keeps saying that he looks like a baby reindeer. So she says, hey baby reindeer. That's one of the things. And then at the very end, you find out why she has such an affinity towards baby reindeers in the last episode.
Okay. But I feel I'm always out of step because I really do not like it at all. And I find it really hard going. And
it is. It's supposed to be.
I guess I don't like trauma porn, and I feel it's punishingly nihilistic, and it weirdly reminds me of
Joker.
I May Destroy You, the Michaela Cole series, because that too was a series created by the central character who plays themselves, based on a true story, but with little bits, a little bit fictionalized. And you wonder, even though Michaela Cole represents herself as a flawed person in the same way that, is it Paul Gadd or Richard Gadd portrays himself as a complex, flawed person, you wonder, I find myself wondering, well, what have you left out or skewed? Because the whole thing, like, I get it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, but I would prefer to feel uncomfortable watching The Comeback. That's the kind of level of discomfort I'm comfortable with. But
there is parts that I had to fast forward through because his comedy acts are so cringe that I can't do them, and they go on for 10 minutes, and you're like, as he just keeps bombing more and more and more, and it's just so uncomfortable. But I do think that the like I said, that trans actress Nava Mao, who plays Terry, I think she's just luminous. I think she's defined. I think I know he already has 2 new Netflix series coming out. I mean, he's not going away anytime soon. And the actress, I thought the stalker girl, I thought she was fantastic too. I mean, I just think like I said, it touches on greatness, but it's also so cringe that you can't watch parts of it, and it's maybe not for everyone, I guess, but I suggest it.
All right. Tom, I think you've got to watch it. Or
I found the comeback too cringy for me, and you're telling me that this is worse.
Well, the great thing about the comeback is it's all made up. I mean, based in truth, I guess. But
unless you're Shelley Long, and then it's not all made up. But other than
Tom,
that,
I think you could watch the first episode and then make up your mind from there, because the first episode is sort of like a story in and of itself.
All right. Well, that's Baby Reindeer. Yeah.
And now from reindeer to chimps.
Number 5.
I dragged James out of the house last week to go see a screening at Vidiot's in Eagle Rock. Vidiot's is the place to be. It is a really cool screening room in Eagle Rock, which is a very hip neighborhood. It's the new Los Feliz. And we went to see Eric Good's new series, Chimp Crazy, that has just started streaming on Max. Now, Eric Good, of course, the nightclub impresario, creator of Area, the hotelier from the Maritime to the new Chelsea Hotel.
Night Fever guest.
Yeah, Night Fever guest, absolutely. Basket, art collector. Anyway, so many accomplishments. And in addition, director, perhaps well known to this audience or best known for Tiger King, the Netflix series that came out during the middle of COVID, and everybody watched it and told the crazy story of Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin and all about exotic private animals. If you thought that that was not toppable, he has topped it with Chimp Crazy, which follows a number of characters who love chimps and who keep chimps at home with predictably sinister, icky, like, what are the boundaries here results, because they love, how can you not love a baby chimp? They are perhaps the most adorable thing on earth. And as many,
we do have to say that this is in Missouri, where the exotic animal laws are very lax, and also at home to a lot of nuts. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry to our Missouri listeners out there, but you're all crazy.
Well, Tanya Haddix is an amazing character who leaps off the screen, who confesses that she loves.
No, she looks like Lady Bunny. She acts like Tammy Faye Baker, and she. And at the very beginning, I'm gonna do it right here. I'm just gonna
do it
right here. And in the very beginning, she talks about how she breastfeeds the baby chimps herself. And from that moment on, you know you are in the hands of a genius, Eric Good.
A human child on one breast, the chimp on the other breast, as witnessed.
A real baby, and then oh my God, yes.
Yes. Although interestingly, she calls them human Z's. That's what the chimp crazy people call them. They call them human Z's. Now, here's the thing about chimps. Cute as they may be when they're young, they grow up with simian rage and can turn incredibly vicious, incredibly clever, and incredibly malevolent. And the result is they often have to get locked up, not with just one combination lock, multiple locks. And of course, that's not good for any living thing to be essentially in a jail cell. So,
and once again, there's another little story here I want to give, where we meet this gentleman and he starts talking, and you're like, what is wrong with him? What is that with his nose? And his nose was bitten off by one of the chimps that he was taking, and then they had to graft a new nose onto him, and it's just bizarre looking. But he still loves the chimpanzees more than anything. It's crazy.
It's an extraordinary story, and the narrative essentially is we go to this place in Missouri. Now, as you can imagine, Eric Good has not endeared himself to people who like to keep exotic animals with Tiger King. So what does he do? He hires a proxy director in the form of a professionally trained clown called Dwayne. And so there's a proxy director directing this. They go in at the same time as Peter is trying to get these chimps taken from this compound and released into a more suitable environment for them. And
an island in Florida, I believe, that they were going to put all the chimps in, which is both good and bad, because the chimps don't know any other life, and will they acclimate, and it becomes that whole thing. But
there's another twist, which is that one of the chimps is a famous chimp called Tonka. And Tonka was in a number of movies like Babe, Pig in the City, and Buddy, featuring a very young Alan Cumming. And Alan Cumming is all over this. He talks about his relationship with Tonka in very moving ways. And so you have this, on the one hand, Peter is trying to get a hold of these chimps. On the other hand, Tanya Haddix and the female chimp lovers are trying to hold on to the chimps. And I, James, agree or disagree, but I found myself emotionally completely torn. I could see and feel for both sides in this equation. And as funny as it is, it's also profoundly heartbreaking in a way that is so hard to feel. Normally, I think in a documentary series, you have an idea of who's good, who's bad. You kind of know. But in this, I was just completely split down the middle while my jaw was on the floor.
Well, you know, I feel that way sometimes about PETA. I love their mission statement and what they do. Sometimes I go back and forth with their methods. And with Tanya, especially in this, like I said, she's very Tammy Faye. Like, you love her. You just want to hug her, even though she's misguided in a lot of things that she does. But you don't ever for a moment believe there she is. You don't ever, but for a moment, believe that she doesn't love the chimpanzees and she doesn't love Tonka.
Yeah.
And Tom, there's a really great scene where she's getting her false eyelashes woven on as she's sort of narrating, and the camera goes to her, and you see that she's getting it's just, she's so brilliant. She's so good. And afterwards, I just want to say that Eric, we were talking to Eric Good briefly, and he said that he invited Fenton because there's got to be something at World of Wonder for Tanya. We've got to make her a wow-celebrity because she is just absolutely gobsmackingly watchable, charismatic.
It feels like either this or Planet of the Apes should be a musical. I have musicals in the mind. And the last thing, where does Project 2025 come down on this issue? Just curious.
Maybe the Chimps wrote Project 2025. It's a fantastic series. It's 1 hour. It's on HBO Sundays. They've only shown the first episode so far, so you can get caught right up.
So it's a series.
It's a series, yes. And it ends on a cliffhanger that is just as bonkers as anything.
Somebody's face is going to be torn off on camera. I have a terrible feeling.
You absolutely know it.
Okay, so that's internet celebrities, the hot Tuah girl and Jools Lebron, aka the demure girl, at numbers 10 and 9 respectively. Then Fridgescaping at number 8, and then on to some of our favorite shows of the year at numbers 7, 6, and 5, with Owning Manhattan and Baby Reindeer on Netflix, and then Chimp Crazy, which was truly crazy, on Max. Coming up in the next segment, we'll chat about some of the music of 2024 that made us go wow. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wow Report for Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And we're back. This is the Wow Report for Radio Andy, where usually it's Fenton Bailey, Tom Campbell, and James St. James counting down the top 10 things of the week that made them go wow. But this week, I'm taking over. I'm doing my 10 favorite segments of 2024, basically. We've had internet celebrities, the hot Tuah girl and the demure girl at number 10 and 9. We had Fridgescaping at number 8, then on to some of our favorite shows at 7, 6, and 5 with Owning Manhattan, Baby Reindeer, and Chimp Crazy. And now at number 4, Tom gives us 2 albums that both racked up nominations at the Grammys for 2025. More on that later. Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine and Beyonce's Cowboy Carter.
Number 4.
Just a little pop music update for me because I have to keep up. I have to work hard at keeping it up. And that is, 1, did you know that Ariana Grande's 98-year-old grandmother makes history as the oldest artist on the Billboard Hot 100 ever?
I love it.
I love it.
You know what? I think she was also featured on a track on her Thank You Next album.
Very likely. And there's a picture of them in Billboard. I recognize her, like, because we've had Ariana on RuPaul's Drag Race twice. Once, like, I think in 2017, when she had just earlier that morning finished the Bang Bang video and was running late. When she showed up I said with love because we love Ariana Grande and she loves us. I mean, we love Ariana Grande, but it was like a junior high class had been dismissed. Like the hallways were just full of people. She traveled with all these different people and friends and her mother and her grandmother. It's kind of really beautiful to see, but it's very family. It's very Italian family.
Yeah, she's very close with her family.
Has anyone listened to, I know we have different musical tastes, but the newest album, Eternal Sunshine?
I've heard the single, but I haven't I've listened to one other track. And I'm going to listen to the entire thing. I've heard it's really good. I've heard that all 12 tracks have charted on Billboard, so I will definitely be good, but I haven't yet.
People are loving it. I love Ariana Grande, as you know. The single, which is I can't remember the name, but it's a lip sync song. I just listen. I needle drop on every new female artist, hoping there's a lip sync track. And there's at least one lip sync track. The rest is a little bit mellow, but she's being kind of praised by the critics who like really Rolling Stone, all these things saying it's maybe her best album ever, and that there's not like over singing or histrionics. It's like, bitch, give me my over singing or over histrionics. Although this is still a good album, I do go home and listen to it at night. I like a hit, I like a bridge, I like a place to do a death drop. But it is a really good album. I really enjoyed it. And the other little tease we got this week is from Beyonce. Have you guys seen the photo that was just released?
Of her about this.
In red, white, and blue, in Texas, red, white, and blue, on a horse. People are wondering, is it the same horse in the Renaissance? Is it a family? Is it a friend? Is it the Michelle of the horses? I don't know. Is it,
it's her horse.
And there's already memes going out about it where she's holding an LGBTQ plus flag and poppers. Rush. I haven't read a lot about it. There is a little article in the New York Times. I love Beyonce. I love her power. I can't help but think she's reminding people that she's from Texas. That in this dark, awful times in Texas, this woman whose last album was dedicated and celebrated and included all of these queer artists, is reminding people that she's Texas strong too. And I think that's really powerful. And there's articles I won't even click on, which are about like, oh, people attacking Beyonce because she's going country. It's like, back off. She
had said that she didn't feel comfortable in the country space, that she was made to feel uncomfortable. So she's reclaiming her Texas roots, and she makes her own space. And so if she wants to be country, she can be country. And the next one is going to be rock and roll, and she can be rock and roll if she wants. She can
That's
be
what music
whatever
is. Thank you.
She's Beyonce.
Yeah, thank you.
And now one of my favorite albums of 2024 that was also nominated for a ton of Grammys for 2025. Charli XCX's Brat.
Number 3.
I went to the Charli XCX, the Brat 2024 tour. It's Brat Summer Girls.
Where is she playing?
She was at the Shrine Auditorium, which I'd never been to. Have you guys been there? Yeah.
For award shows.
Yeah, it wasn't that big. I actually stood at the very back. Well, first I was in the middle, and I realized it was all like kids from USC because we're all like this, Yeah. And I heard two guys fall in love talking over dick pics behind me.
I think we need to give a shout out to Charli XCX in this Brat thing, because she had a movie series in which she showed Party Monster.
She curated her 5 favorite movies or Brat movies.
Brats, yeah.
Totally.
And James, she showed up to the screening.
We should have showed up to the screening.
Well, I mean, had we known?
Yeah. I mean, she did a pop-up signing this week too on Monday at Stereo Vinyl or something in that new little section of Sycamore, Lower Sunset, where it's all like hip. Anyway,
James, go into the basement at World of Wonder, sign something, and send it to her, for goodness sake.
Yeah, we should, James. Maybe we can get her on Night Fever.
There you go. That's a good idea.
There you go.
Well, the album Brat was released in time with Pride. And when you were talking about Brooke Shields' chartreuse gown earlier, I was thinking, because the album is just a big chartreuse box that says Brat in lower font on it. So maybe she's a Charli XCX fan. Tom?
I would like to think she is. I have a question for you. It's business related. Off this new album, is there a Lip Sync for Your Life song?
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yes.
Will you
Von
do the
Dutch.
research for me and text me, please?
I will send you some. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
She's also going on tour with your favorite Troye Sivan this fall. She'll be at the Forum for 2 nights.
I
And
can hear at the Forum. I might go. I can understand where's the Forum.
there were some looks turned at this show like you couldn't believe. I'm forever thankful to Theron because I've been an Angel since the first album in 2012 because she's got Charlie's Angels,
Yeah.
So I've been a fan since like the first album. And Theron,
that's important. I didn't know that this was important to you.
Theron got me when she was on Drag Race All Stars. It was my birthday, and he had her tell me happy birthday and got me a signed card. So I'm so thankful to him, and that's it.
Love it.
It's a Brat Summer.
It is. Oh, and I was also going to talk about how Elliot's 4th grade class is obsessed with Brats.
Yes, that's how I knew about the Party Monster thing. Not that they know about Party Monster, but they were all talking about Brat, and Charli XCX, 9-year-olds, James. And then Billy's like, why is Elliot talking about Brat? Does a little Googling, and he says, did you know Party Monster was shown at the Roxy in New York? And Charli XCX went. And I was like, oh my God.
James, you've got to hold yourself together. There's a new generation that needs you.
That's right. New generation of fans.
2024 also wasn't all unicorns and sparkles. And I'm not only talking about that. I'm talking about some of the legends that we lost. This segment is from back in July when in 1 week we lost Shannon Doherty, Shelley Duvall, and Richard Simmons.
Number 2.
We lost a lot of celebrities this week, and I think
We sure did.
I think we should celebrate them, and we should
Absolutely.
talk about how gorgeous they all are. We lost Shannon Doherty, who fought so hard for so long, for so many years. She just was. It was a heartbreaking story to watch unfold as it happened in real time. It's hard to understate how popular Brenda was. 90210. You talk about juggernauts, you talk about iconoclasts, you talk about something that just changed the landscape of television. Beverly Hills 90210 just was the template for, you wouldn't have Gossip Girl, you would never Riverdale, you wouldn't have any of the, nighttime soap operas about high school. I mean, she was it, and she was one of those stars like Julia Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland, Roseanne Barr. You just think Delta Burke, all these people who were in the National Enquirer every week. Like they were just on every tabloid every night. It was just a feeding frenzy.
And she was also a child star.
She was a child star. She was on Little House on the Prairie. She went on to do Charmed. But she was so good. We also lost Richard Simmons, who was, an absolute angel on this planet. He was gay when people were not being gay. And he never really came out of the closet, but he was the gay.
That would be redundant.
It would be redundant. He was America's gay best friend. He was everyone knew a gay person because of Richard Simmons,
and loved one and felt supported by them. And his contribution to fitness and health, and not just not just skinny people getting skinnier, but people of all different shapes and sizes living their best life. That was really his message.
His empathy and his love for the overweight community. I mean, you really felt it. He believed in it. He loved them.
He was a former fatty, and I say that with love, as someone who weighs the most on this call.
Exactly. And also, just very quickly, Shelley Duvall, who was, I mean, when you think of Nashville, Three Women, you think of Popeye, the song "He Needs Me." Just go and Google Shelley Duvall, "He Needs Me" from Popeye. It will break your heart. It is so beautiful. her performance in Shining. We've had Seth Abramovich on the show talking about his friendship with her. He wrote a really moving piece in the Hollywood Reporter about his friendship, and it's
In her late years, she was kind of forgotten, and he
she
talked to her
suffered some mental illness. She was surrounded by friends, and she did have a support group about her. But just God bless Shelley Duvall. One of those
for kids, yeah, she was great. And for kids of my age, she had these. I think it was on HBO, but they were released to video, which I would rent at the video store, and they were like retellings of fairy tales.
Oh, Shelley Duvall. No, I'm Shelley Duvall. Yeah, the fairy tales. Yes, those. And you know who did the costumes for that?
Who?
Pat Fields.
Wow.
Oh,
yes, that's how she got her first Emmy, and that's how she got her Sex and the City job.
Wow,
that's great.
Okay, so just to recap, that's internet celebrities, the hot Tuah girl, and Jools Lebron, aka the Demure girl, at numbers 10 and 9 respectively. Then Fridgescaping at number 8, and on to some of our favorite shows of the year at numbers 7, 6, and 5, with Owning Manhattan and Baby Reindeer on Netflix, and Chimp Crazy on Max. We chatted music at numbers 4 and 3 with Ariana, Beyonce, and Charli XCX, then paid tribute to some of the celebrities we lost at number 2. And now's the time I'm going to reveal our special surprise. Stay tuned for a fresh new segment with James, Fenton, and Tom for number 1. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wow Report for Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
All right, guys, and we're back for number 1. I have a special surprise for everyone. I know this is a canned episode, but I have all 3 of the guys here again.
Yay!
Woo!
Guys, just to catch you up, I've been counting down the top 10 things of 2024 that have made us go wow.
Number 1.
I feel like this year is going to be, it doesn't really feel like it right now because we're living in it and the year was so late, but looking back, we're always going to be like, this was the year of Wicked. Don't you guys think?
I believe so, yeah.
I think so. I think it's, the biggest musical of the 21st century, on Broadway. It's still doing Broadway, turned into a movie that's so hard to do. Musicals are so hard to do. And they've reinterpreted and opened it up, and it's a sensation. And everyone who sees it, I think, everyone who sees it loves it. And I'm also so impressed in a world where we like to pit women against each other. Even though they've been picked on it, that Ariana and Cythia, there was even an article I read that they read each other's contracts. They went over them together. So there would be none of that bullshit. And
it reminds you of Friends a little bit, having each other's backs. I do want to say that, what 2023 was when you had Barbenheimer in the Barbie movie, and that's what we will remember from that it's this female empowerment, is this great thing for young girls, it's this great thing for young people, just to see these movies like Wicked, which just, it's young and old. I mean, everybody loves it, but it was a beautiful thing this year. And it's, we're in a golden age, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not really a Wizard of Oz baby or kid. I sort of grew up with it, but never sort of got it completely. And then the Wicked sort of iteration has really sort of turned it all around. And even I will honestly admit that even watching the movie, I wasn't quite in it. I was like, but the thing that changed everything for me in a really not powerful way, but it hit me like a ton of bricks, was that silly but lovely holding space press conference where this lovely lady who's queer media talks about empowering and holding space, and the intimacy between between the two of them is so strong. And then
you'd already seen the movie, and we're like, and it wasn't until they gave it.
James, it wasn't. And even in that moment, I was sort of laughing at this silliness. But then I was driving along my car, and I was suddenly thinking about it, and it just all hit me. Well, of course it's the holding space, and of course it's powerful, and of course it's about race. I mean, it was just all sort of hit me, and I was driving along. I almost had to pull over because I was just crying. I had this sort of delayed reaction. And even when Ariana, even when they then Ariana made fun of it a bit and said, I had no idea what was going on, I still loved it. I still love it because, holding space is, I've never really known what it means, but now I feel I know, having Googled. It's just going along with something and not judging it. And why, what's wrong with that?
We talk about how important it is for young girls and everyone. It's girl power and everything like that, but it's gay power too. It is LGBTQ. It is holding space for all the young gay people out there who really need this movie. They need Defying Gravity they're holding space for Defying Gravity,
and there is something gay in the most beautiful way about it's their relationship together.
And also, it's about the rise of fascism in Oz and how what you think is good is not good at all, and you've been duped, and what you're led to believe is evil is really just knowledge, and it's bringing up all these things that are so pertinent today.
And for newbies who don't like musical theater, who don't want to see a movie about fascism, to me, it's like the best superhero origin story movie ever. And then the one that's coming up for good, Wicked 2, is going to be this incredible adventure. Like, if you thought one was cool and one was clever, 2, I just know from the plotting, is going to blow your mind.
And can I just say that as much as we've always loved Ariana, seeing Cythia Erivo just come to into her own, and Jonathan Bailey, I understand the love that people have for the way that he is he is the sexiest man on the planet.
I think Ariana and Cythia is the most beautiful platonic gay thing I've ever seen in my life.
Whenever I mention Jonathan Bailey, everybody immediately changes the subject.
I was going to talk about how they shot his crotch because he was upside down half the time when he was dancing. So you got these beautiful shots.
I thought Dancing Through Life was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I thought
because they shot up through his legs and into his crotch. There, I said it.
Well, on that note.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like you. I like them, but I don't like you guys. Okay, there.
Well, I've hosted this entire show, but Fenton, I'm going to let you wrap it up since you're here.
All right. Well, thank you, Blake. It's a wonderful show. Thank you, James. Thank you, Tom. And thank everyone for listening. And we want to wish you the happiest new year and wish us all good luck in surviving 2025, which is why I say same time, same place next week. But in the meantime, go out and do something that makes the world go wow.